We're here today outside High Riggs Job Centre in Edinburgh. We're showing solidarity with a claimant and his accompanier who were assaulted by G4S security guards here on the 29th of February. Edinburgh Coalition Against Poverty practices accompaniment, advocacy, where people who've got any sort of benefits interviews can have somebody with them to support them, to give them information about their rights. And this is a right that everybody's got. Even the DWP have said people have the right to be accompanied. And it doesn't need to be any sort of welfare rights specialist. Anybody can accompany anyone to a benefits interview, whether it's a friend or a relative or an advisor or whatever. But on the 29th of February here, this basic human right was attacked when the G4S security guards physically assaulted the accompanier from Edinburgh Claimants affiliated to Edinburgh Coalition Against Poverty, and physically stopped him accompanying the claimant into the benefit office. So what we're here today is to demonstrate that we're not going to put up with this attack on our rights. And today people are here saying advocacy is not a crime and everybody's the right to be accompanied. So the claimant and the accompanier have already gone into the benefits office, into the job centre, and the interview's going on at present as far as we know. So it looks like the show of solidarity's worked, and that the job centre have acknowledged that claimants have got this right and that can be accompanied. But we'll know more when the claimant and his accompanier come out soon. But finally, we'd just like to thank everybody that's turned up today. People are here from Dundee, from Glasgow, from Greenock, as well as from all round the Edinburgh area. And I think this shows that if we stand together and support each other and resist, then we can win. Because often people think the authorities are all powerful, but the truth is there's much more of us than them, and if we all act together, we can make their antisocial and oppressive policies unworkable, and we can lay the foundations for a much better, fairer society. Thanks.
What they're doing is though...
Yeah, sure.
I'll go for it.
We're through from Dundee against austerity, and as I've said informally to people here, we've had it easy over the last couple of years when we've been outside the brew in Dundee. The level of harassment from the police and security guards has been minimal in Dundee. But as Mike was saying there, the principle's extremely important, that we stand together. There's a whole number of things that you sometimes see on union banners that we're putting in place here, such as an injury to one is an injury to all. Now I have to admit, I've got mixed feelings about these characters for G4S. First of all, we know that these guys in here aren't on the top wages. They're low wage security guards. They work incredibly long hours. But why are they behaving this way? We're asking ourselves and we're asking them. They've got a choice to make. Do they stand with the unemployed and the low wage going into this place, or do they stand with the millionaires? And we know that next Wednesday, on the 10th, Osborne stands up and announces again that there will have to be more cuts, which means that they'll attack, as they've been attacking in the last week, the disabled and the unemployed even more. But as to my mixed feelings about G4S, there's one word or a couple of words that sum it up, and that's Jimmy Mabenga, the man that the G4S security services murdered on an aeroplane. And in the course of the inquiry, the disgusting racist text between G4S staff, as they gloated and laughed and mocked about the fact that they'd taken someone's life on that plane, makes me think, what kind of people want to do this sort of job? We know we're in an economy where people are forced to accept low wage dirty and dangerous jobs with long hours and 0 hours. But what kind of people are drawn towards G4S and working for them? It's a multinational. I think somebody pointed out last week that they've withdrawn from Israel, and if that's so, that's a good step. But we're saying to G4S employees, start getting organised yourselves, get into a union, start challenging your own low wages and your own abysmal conditions, and stand with the unemployed. Don't allow yourselves to harass them, but we know you've been harassing them. When we were up in Blairgowrie near Dundee a year ago, we saw the face of the G4S guards up there at the Blairgowrie Job Centre, telling people to put their fags out before they could come in, picking on adults with learning difficulties, making them stand outside in the cold. So that's the nature and type of work that these individuals are attracted to. But if they thought they could get away, good stuff, Grant. If they thought they could get away with bullying, and that's exactly what it is, a claimant when they go on here, then it's bounced back on them. It's coming back against them that we're all standing here together to say we will not allow you to pick on and harass the vulnerable and claimants in this job centre or any other job centre. So we're urging you to think again, to keep your hands off of individuals who come in here for interviews. They have a perfect right and a legal right to be accompanied, and we will stand by them as they come in here today and on other occasions to take up that right. As Grant said as he led the chants, advocacy is not a crime, and we will stand by the individuals who are picked on by G4S and any other agency. So solidarity from Dundee against austerity. Thank you.
My name is Tony Cox. I'm from the Scottish Unemployed Workers Network through Dundee. We've come through, I mean, this is about the third or fourth time I've been outside here actually in the last few months. You know, Mike was actually mentioning that there have been a couple of arrests in Dundee. Myself, I've been arrested twice in the Arbroath Job Centre. I was arrested whilst accompanying a highly vulnerable female, older woman, into a job centre interview. And most recently in November of last year, we got off with that, by the way, as we knew we would, despite the fact that we didn't have actually any witnesses. The court case itself was an absolute hoot. It was like watching, you know, what's the boy, Rumpole with a Bailey, but it was like Rumpole with a Bailey on acid or something. It was absolutely incredible. The cross-examination of the DWP witnesses revealed them absolutely not backtracking on everything they'd actually said. They'd said that I'd went into the job centre swearing and shouting at the top of my voice. As if.
Are you sure that?
And they absolutely not utterly backtracked on it. You know, even before though the case was actually finalised in Forfar, I was arrested again. The week before, I was actually cleared of the charges in Arbroath at Forfar Sheriff Court. I was actually arrested at Dundee Maximus Assessment Centre. Now, anybody that knows anything about these ESA assessments, this is one of the major issues that we're actually dealing with in Dundee at the moment. I would imagine it's exactly the same in Edinburgh. What we're finding is many people who you just take one look at them, you know that they're not actually capable of work, who are actually being basically rejected for any right to ESA payments. And it's inducing a crisis among some of the most vulnerable people that we're actually dealing with. I went in with a highly vulnerable female client again, somebody that we'd been in contact with for 6 months, that would represented on a whole number of issues. I went in, I was told that I'd been barred for the building on police advice. I actually pointed out to them, I said, you can't just bar somebody without telling them about it. You've got to give some kind of grounds. What are your grounds? He says, our grounds are that you're violent, you came in here shouting and screaming. I says, look, you've already, you know, they actually got the police into us before. We've had the police called to us on a whole number of occasions in Dundee. On most occasions they haven't acted. But we have got grave concerns over the politicised nature of policing. Twice I've been arrested and I've been arrested on the basis of complaints generated by DWP and Maximus staff respectively. On the second occasion, the police approached me, asked me who it was, I told them my name, and they said, "You're arrested." There was no attempt on their part to actually investigate the nature of the complaints. We had witnesses around us, including the woman that had actually been in who had been able to tell the police that there was absolutely no basis for any complaint. They didn't do that. They took at face value what the ESA assessors had actually said and arrested me. I spent 27 hours in police custody because I'd broken my bail conditions, because I was due up at court the following week in Forfar. And I'm absolutely and utterly confident that the case in Dundee will go the same way as the Arbroath case that was tried at Forfar Sheriff Court. It will be kicked out. It will be kicked out on the basis of the cross-examination of the Maximus and ESA assessors who are lying through their teeth. Again, what they accused me of was being physically violent with them, and also was swearing and shouting at the top of my voice. The point I made was, well, the CCTV footage will demonstrate that wasn't the case. Surprise, surprise, they cannot find the CCTV footage. Exactly the same thing happened in Arbroath. Now, I'm absolutely delighted for one aspect with regards to the arrests, because those arrests have demonstrated a great degree of solidarity that we are actually enjoying from right across Scotland, and particularly Edinburgh Coalition Against Poverty. Mike and the other comrades in ECAP have been alongside us every single step of the way in our struggles through in Dundee, and we can only pledge exactly the same with a bit of interest in terms of offering them solidarity when the authorities actually come for them. I would just make this point with regards to what's actually happening in Dundee. For 2 years, we've been fighting them toe to toe. We've not just been outside the brew shouting at buildings. We've been inside that brew. We've been all over them like a rash. And on the basis of that, they've actually started attempting to try and drain the well of complaints and issues that we can actually campaign on. And the way that they've done that is they've actually moved towards establishing a permanent welfare rights presence inside Dundee Brew. This was an experiment that they actually ran with for 2 or 3 months, but it's been so successful that they've actually ran it out now. Now, as far as we're aware, this is the only job centre anywhere in Scotland where there's a permanent welfare rights presence within the job centre in Dundee. And the reason why they're doing it is because they're attempting to try and make us redundant. But we have still got a role to play, because there are many, many cases that welfare rights, ordinary or conventional welfare rights organisations won't touch with a barge pole, but we will. So there's always going to be a role for us. But we also take it as a huge compliment that the DWP have resorted to actually getting the welfare rights groups into Dundee Brew in order to try and make us redundant, to try and get us to go away. But we will not be going anywhere. We'd also make the point that a few months ago, even just a few months ago, Dundee was the sanctions capital of Scotland. It had the highest numbers of sanctions anywhere from any job centre anywhere in Scotland. But DWP's own figures between January and March of last year demonstrated in that period there was a 40% reduction in their sanctions in Dundee. It still remained the highest in Scotland, but it was a 40% reduction in sanctions. And that is down to the work that the Scottish Unemployed Workers Network have been doing with regards to frontline advocacy, sans frontier advocacy. That is what we need to do, because if we had an active presence outside every single job centre throughout Scotland, I tell you this now, these welfare reforms would be fundamentally unworkable. That is the truth of the matter, and that should still be what our aim is. We should be spreading out the kind of work that ECAP are doing and the kind of work that the Scottish Unemployed Workers Network are doing. And I would say anybody here, outside your brew, you get outside that brew, you start talking to people, you will generate the issues and you will start having an impact. This work actually is effective. The kind of science frontier, it's not rocket science. It doesn't take a biologist or some kind of scientist to actually work this kind of work out. You stand outside, you give a leaflet to everybody that goes in, everybody that comes out, you ask them, are you getting any problems with the job centre? And that generates the issues. And when we get all over them like a rash, they back off. And I would say this to any person here who is actually unemployed. Do not believe that you will get anywhere with these people by keeping your head down. The only way that you will get forward with these people is by actually standing up to them. Because bullies do not like it when you get back them into their face. And we say to the G4S, the butt thugs and bullies that actually put their hands on our comrades, you know, we say to them, you try that and you will see demonstrations like this every time you attempt to try and lay your fingers on our comrades. Thank you very much.
I can tell you that it was dramatically different from what it was like this time 2 weeks ago when, as we tried to go in the door there together, Chris was physically separated from me and ushered in the way while I was physically pushed back out the door by 4 G4S security guards. Today they didn't try to obstruct us from entering, and they allowed me to attend with Chris throughout his interview, and they took a very conciliatory tone all the way through. And there's one reason alone for that situation, and that is because of all of you guys showing out today to show solidarity and to show how important it is that folk like Chris and others can be given a bit of support when they go in to deal with these people, because Chris hasn't always had a very nice time in there recently. They've been singling him out and bullying him. Today he didn't have to see the guy that's really been targeting him, and also they've agreed that he will be able to see someone different in future. We've also been told that our letter of complaint, which went in a couple of weeks ago, there's now a response in the post. Now we need to wait and see what that says, but the important thing today is that everyone's turned out, showed solidarity with Chris and his right to be accompanied, and I think we can regard this as a really good step in the right direction and a victory. So thanks very much everybody for coming. You made a real difference today. Thank you.